This is a demonstration on how to replace a water heater element in a water heater in the event that your water is not getting hot. Odds are if the tank runs dry and the water heater breaker is left on, you can burn up the water heater element. Not a big deal. These water heater elements can be found at any Lowe's or Home Depot. It's just a standard 1500 watt element, usually about $10 or so. In each bandwagon, the breaker box, which is located in the toilet room left hand side of the cabinet, the breaker box is labeled. The water heater breaker might be in a different location on your bandwagon, but this is what the breaker box looks for. Look for the corresponding breaker for the water heater. In this event, I've already tripped it. You can see there it is the second one down on the right hand side, so you trip that off. That removes the power to the water heater. So now we have no electricity going to the water heater. Come back into the shower room and you can see where your sink is. The water heater is located in the panel, or behind the panel rather, under the sink. So there are at least two screws, one in each of the top corners. Just a Phillips screwdriver, take it off. Some bandwagons have a third screw in the center on the bottom, so you'll want to check that. Loosen those up, not all the way, because you want to make sure that you've got something to grab onto to remove the panel. And then it just lifts up and out of the way and exposes your water heater. Let's shed some light here. So this is your water heater, and this is your sink drain. Now, if you'll notice, coming into the water heater on the cold water side, or the blue line, there is a valve. This is your inlet valve for the water heater. So the first thing that you want to do before you get started is you want to turn this valve off. Most of these are ball valves, some of which are quarter turn, but you want to make sure that the valve is perpendicular to the water line, not parallel. So now there is no possibility of any fresh water coming into the water heater. Step number 2, we're going to want to drain it. Now your drain is at the bottom of the water heater. It's got this weird plastic cap on it, and in the center of it is a slot to take a flat screwdriver. And then you should see a garden hose or something like this threaded onto it that just goes outside of the bandwagon. So now we want to take a flat screwdriver. We're going to open that up, and that's what drains the water heater. So coming right back here. Okay, we're back now, and our water heater is now drained. Now it's important to note, so you see a screwdriver stuck in there, turn counterclockwise. Now that it's drained, we can go ahead and close that off. Now it's important to note when you open this up to drain it, because you have shut off the water valve there on top, that you'll cause what's called an airlock, and the water heater will drain just a bit, and then there will be a vacuum seal in there, so it will prevent it from draining further. So to avoid that, what you want to do is come up here to your faucet and just turn on the hot water side, and then the air will come in through the faucet, which will displace the water being lost. So now our water heater is drained. That's super important, because whenever we remove the element, if there's water still in the water heater, now you've got water all over your floor. So now the tank is empty. The water heater element, believe it or not, is actually submerged in the water. There's no cavity, it's just hanging out. And it needs to be submerged. That's how it's designed, to prevent it from burning out. Now take your same flat screwdriver, and there is a set screw on the top. It's kind of hard to see there. Set screw on the top, you want to remove that to expose this panel. Okay, so you've got your insulation, couple wires. Open these up, flip up this insulation, and you'll see there's a cover there. On the top of the cover, which we can't really see here, you want to just kind of grab it on the top, or from the bottom, whichever is easier, and pull that out. So now we are good to go. Here at the very bottom where these two wires end up, that's your water heater element. I've got the new one here, so you can see what it looks like. These you can find at any Lowe's or Home Depot. It's a 1500 watt water heater element. It's as simple as they come. This is, I don't know, $8, $9. The only tools required for this entire project, you'll need a flat screwdriver that will allow you to drain the water heater and also to get access to the water heater element panel. You'll need a Phillips screwdriver. See here, your Phillips heads, that's for your white and black wires for the new water heater element. This is a 110 heater, and so you'll need a Phillips screwdriver so you can change your wires out, and you'll need a 1.5 inch socket, which is this guy right here. 1.5 inch socket, and that is going to go, you can see here, that's going to go over here. That's what we're going to use to thread the new water heater element in. So now, first thing I'm going to do is, it's kind of hard to do and hold the camera at the same time, is take your water heater element there, take your wires off, and they should be on there pretty snug. So loosen those up. We're going to pop these two wires off. Now if you'll remember, we turned off the breaker in the breaker box to the water heater, so these are dead. There's no electricity going to the water heater right now, so don't worry about that. If you forget to trip off the breaker, you'll definitely know it, because one, you'll get shocked, and two, well, I guess it's moot anyway if the water heater element is already blown. But yeah, you'll definitely get shocked. So we're going to hit pause real quick. I'm going to take these wires off, and we'll get it started with the ratchet. Take your socket right on top of it, just like this. Get a good seat on it. Get it started. Thread it out by hand. And here's our old element. Take your new element, stick it down the hole. Make sure you're careful when you get your thread started. Thread started. Get it as tight as you can by hand, and then we want to snug it up with our ratchet. And you don't have to get too crazy with it. Just get it nice and snug. You know. Let's see. You don't have to get too crazy with it. Just so it's nice and snug. Alright, now we want to put our wires back on. Now it shouldn't matter which one's which. There's one little element on there that's got a little red paint or something on it, so we'll use that for our black side. Take your wire, wrap it around the bottom here. You don't need to take that screw all the way out. Just get it started from the top down. Here we go. Get that started. Tighten that down. Now this you do want to get as tight as possible. You just want to give it just a little wiggle. Make sure it's nice and tight, because if it's loose, that's when the electricity will arc and you'll get a dead short. So you don't want to do that. Loosen this one up over here. The same thing. This one we're going to come in from the bottom side. Tighten that up. Get it nice and tight. Get your wires out of the way. Now we're going to reinstall this this cover here. Reinstall our cover here. So you make sure your wires are out of the way. Go at it from the top down. Stick your cover back on. Insulation lays back over that. Go ahead and tuck your wires back over the insulation. Stick your panel back on, and you're good to go. Now at this point, our drain is closed off. This is all put back together. I'll put this panel on. Everything's closed off. So then after you do that, what you want to do is go ahead and come back up here to the top of the water heater. There's our valve that's turned off. You want to turn that back on. So open that back up. Now we've got water coming back to it, and leave your hot water on, and then turn your water pump back on. Then you want to fill your water heater. You'll know that your water heater is full when the hot water is coming out of the faucet. Your water heater will take about 15 minutes to drain and about 7 to 10 minutes to fill. After your water heater is full of water, of course the water won't be hot yet because you've just filled it with cold water. You want to go back to the breaker box, turn your water heater back on, and then give it about an hour and a half or so, which will leave it plenty of time to heat the entire 20 gallons of water to the desired temperature. And that's how you change out a water heater element.